Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be checking out the latest AirPod Pro clones, and these are actually from a website called ProPods, and the official name that they gave these is the ProPods 3. I'm really excited to be checking these out because they have finally matched the physical appearance of the AirPod Pros. And I also want to announce the winner for the previous giveaway, so I'll have that on the screen now. That was for the Powerbeats Pro. I also want to remind you there is going to be a giveaway on these after this video, so make sure you like, leave a comment down below with hashtag giveaway, and be subscribed to the channel. All the instructions as well as a link to where you can get these is going to be down below. But without further ado, let's go ahead and check these out. I'm going to be comparing these head to head with Apple's own AirPod Pros, so I think that we should go ahead and start by opening up the original AirPod Pros just to kind of give an idea of what to expect from the ProPods 3. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And these are the real ones right here, and this is the box. It's kind of beat up, but that's just because I've had this box for a little while now. And as you can see, it has all of the Apple branding on it. The front has the AirPods Pro on it. Let's see if I can get the focus better. There you can see. And then on the back, it actually has a picture of the charging case with the AirPod Pros in it. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what we have on the inside. So right here it says designed by Apple in California. And this is just the instruction manual along with some other little booklets. As you can see though, it has 3 booklets in there along with the manual. Okay, and the next thing that we see underneath the manual is the actual headphones. So I'll take those out and we'll set them aside for now. But then there is this little cardboard insert and then a lightning to Type-C cable as well as replaceable ear tips right there. So that is what comes with the real AirPod Pros. Let's go ahead and open up the clone box just to see what all comes in that. And one thing that I really like about the ProPods is that they use a one-to-one box. There are some slight differences, like on the bottom here. You can see that it doesn't look 100% the same. Like this is 1 sticker and these are 2 stickers. And the text is slightly different. But it does have a serial number, which last time I checked, it does actually work and say that they are under warranty and everything. But that might have changed by now because I did get these a little while ago. But I was just kind of waiting for shipping to get worked out with the Chinese New Year and everything before I made a video on them. But as you can see, it has all the Apple branding. It has a picture of the AirPod Pros on the front, and the texture of the box is slightly softer than the real AirPod Pros box, which is kind of weird, but it's really not that noticeable. I thought I'd mention that. It does feel kind of more like sticky. I don't know how to describe it really, but it does have a nice soft finish to it, which is cool. And then on the back there is the picture, and as you can see, comparing it side by side with the real box, it looks exactly the same. I can't tell the difference between these boxes other than the sticker is slightly different, but it's really hard to tell, especially if you've never seen the real box before. But let's go ahead and open it up and see what we have inside. So there you see we get the manuals, and just like the real one, it has the one right there, which is the instruction manual, and then it has the 3 other booklets. Well, I can't really see there. As you can see, 3 other booklets right there, and some of them don't include that. They only have the one manual, but they actually go above and beyond and include that. And here is the headphones. I'm gonna set those aside for a second. And then this is also a little bit different. They have a plastic insert instead of a cardboard, but also not a very big deal. And then here are the ear tips. So that's one thing that's really gonna bother me about these, is they actually included ear tips that don't work with my headphones. So one thing about these is they have actually updated the ear tip design to match the real ones. And as you can see right here, this is the old ear tip design. I'll go more into that whenever we take a closer look at the headphones, but I just thought I'd include that. I think they are starting to include the real, like the ear tips that actually work. But when I got these, it was kind of like an early production run, and they hadn't quite gotten them all made yet. So I think they are including that. I'll put it in the description down below if I find anything else out about it. But then we have the lightning to Type-C cable, just like the real ones. So let's go ahead now and take a look at just the headphones. So here we have the Pro clones, and here we have the Pros. And the first thing you'll kind of notice is the plastic on the headphones is a little bit different. This one the real ones have like a gray line right there, as you can maybe see, and it does feel a little bit thicker, but it's really not that big of a deal. I've only seen one other Pro clone match that plastic wrap that the real ones have, and it's really not that big of a deal in my opinion. But one thing that the ProPods did that kind of went above and beyond is the plastic wrap that came on them when I got them in the mail actually had a pull tab just like the real ones did. So I'll kind of include a little clip of that, of me opening them, because I have already opened it and I can't really show y'all again. But that was super cool and a little bit of an extra touch I hadn't seen any other clones do yet. But here we have the real ones. I'm gonna go ahead and take the case off of that as well. So let's kind of take a closer look at the actual AirPod Pros and what the case includes and everything. So here we have the case. You can see it has a LED on the front, and there is kind of like an opaque piece of plastic over the LED, and then on the bottom you can see it has the charging port, which is lightning, has a metal hinge, a button, and then it says designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. I'm assuming, yeah, that is what the back of the real AirPod Pros looks like. And then I will go ahead and open it up and show the ear tips. So this is what the inside of the case looks like. You can see the contacts down there for the charging. But taking a closer look at just the headphones right here, you can see it has a grill right there, a grill on the inside piece right there. And then here are the ear tips that I was just talking about. So you can see they are different than the ones that came with the clones. But in a second I'll show you the ones that actually come on the earbuds in the case, and you will see that they actually match. So yeah, that is what the ear tips look like on the real ones. And then the stem looks like this. It has a little R or L depending on the ear, and then it has kind of a little flat surface. So that is what the real AirPod Pros looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look at the clones and see how close they got. Okay, so here is the wireless charging case for the AirPod Pro clones. You can see kind of maybe on the camera, there is no opaque window over the LED, is just a hole, which might not help with the water resistance. So these might be slightly more water resistant than the clones. And then on the bottom there is the lightning charging port. On the back there is a hinge, which I think is actually plastic and not metal. It doesn't really feel like metal, but it does feel pretty sturdy still. And then here is the writing on the back. It says the same thing, but I think it is slightly lighter than the text on the real AirPod Pros. And then there's the button right there. And then now taking a look at the actual earbuds, like I was saying, here is the stem and everything. They have finally corrected the stem on these. All of the sensors and grills seem to be in the right place, but they still appear to just be stickers and not actual grills. So I wonder how that's going to affect the mic quality. I will do a mic test in the video, but here is the actual ear tip that I was talking about. And you'll see here, I'll actually show you real quick, that the real ear tips actually fit on the clones, and the cloned ear tips actually fit on the real AirPod Pros. So just like that, they are interchangeable, which will be kind of cool if I get the clones and they start having the real ear tips. That would be super awesome. One more thing I want to show about the charging cases is they do have writing under the lid. It is kind of hard for the camera to pick it up, but there is writing underneath the lid of the real AirPod Pros as well as on the clones. I'm not sure which of these was the clone. Let's see, do they charge in the same case? So I'm guessing this is, so they both appear to charge in the real AirPod Pro case. I can't tell really which is the fake right now, actually, if I'm being honest. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think that's the one. It's really hard to tell because the weight is the same. It's really close, but I think it is heavier on the real ones. And then under the lid of the clones, you can see it has the writing as well. So they have gone really above and beyond to make these look really similar to the actual AirPod Pros. But I'm going to show y'all more of the functionality now. And first thing I want to do real quick is actually weigh them. So here I have my scale, and I'm going to first take the real AirPods Pro, put them on there. They are 56 grams, and then the clones are 51 grams. And if I take the earbuds out, the individual earbud weighs 6 grams for the real Pros, and for the clones it weighs 4 grams. So like I said, it is slightly lighter, but it's not really a big deal. You can't really tell in your hand. They both feel like pretty good quality build. The Pros do have a slightly better snap on the hinge, I feel like, but they do finally have the anti-gravity hinge on the clones, which I think is a good feature to have, just because whenever you're trying to pair them, if they keep closing, it messes up the pairing process, and that can be very annoying. The next thing I want to show real quick is the wireless charging. So here are the real AirPod Pros, and it actually does not appear to be liking that for some reason. If I put on the clones, then you can see the clones actually start charging. So that was really weird. I don't know why my real AirPod Pros would not start. Let me try that again real quick. Okay, so yeah, you can see right now the real AirPod Pros are charging. I don't know why it was saying that there was an error before, but as you can see, they both wirelessly charge, which is pretty nice and convenient. One thing I like to do is when I get home, I just throw them on my nightstand where I have a wireless charger, and they're ready to go for whenever I'm headed back out. So that is a nice feature. And that also brings me to my next point, which is battery life. And the battery life on these is slightly worse than the previous clones that I've checked out, as well as the AirPod Pros. So these were only able to get 3 hours at max volume for a full charge, while the AirPod Pros are able to get 3.5 hours on one charge, and that is with noise canceling active. So it is slightly worse. However, I do think the volume on these gets extremely loud, and that could be the reason why the battery life was not as well, because I think that previous clones have gotten about 3.5 hours of battery life. So it's kind of strange that these did not get as good of a battery life, but I think that does have to do with the volume on these being increased. So real quick, I want to show the pairing process for the real AirPod Pros, just so you know what to expect when I show the pairing process for the clones. So all you have to do is open up the case, and in a few seconds a pop-up should appear right there. You hold down the button on the back for a few seconds, and just like that, it is connected. And now all you have to do is take them out of the case, and they're ready to use anytime that you want to use them, and they automatically connect to your phone. And it has this little tutorial right here where it kind of shows you everything, but I'm going to exit out of that now just to show you the battery life, and that this is an iPhone XS on iOS 13.4. But as you can see right there, the case and the headphones are connected, and if you take the headphones out for a second, you can actually see that it does update the little display right there in real time. And if I go to my music, you can actually see right here, if I switch the output to the AirPod Pros, then you can see that it now has an audio sharing feature, as well as the battery life right there. So that is super awesome. As well, one more thing I want to point out is there is a little icon right here showing that it is playing out of the AirPod Pros. Now let's show what happens when you pair the AirPods 3, and let's kind of compare that to the real AirPod Pros. So just like the real ones, all you have to do is open up the case, hit connect, hold down the button on the back for a few seconds, and just like that, the process is done. They're all connected, and it goes through the same kind of tutorial and everything, but I'm just going to skip that. And you can see the battery life right there, as well as the name change, which is a very cool feature that these have. And you can even see right here that in the widgets it does show the battery lives, and if I remove the headphones just like that, it works just like the real ones, and that is very awesome. Going into the audio, just like I was showing a minute ago, you can actually see them right there, and normally it does have an audio sharing feature. So for some reason right now it doesn't, but right here you can see the icon, which is the same icon as the original AirPod Pros, which is kind of a bummer they have that messed up right now, but it should just be a little software fix to get that working right. And I did say these were in early production, so they might already have that fixed, but as you can see right here, you can choose between transparency, noise canceling, and just having the normal sound. That is all software though, and it does not actually affect the sound. Okay, and now I have the real AirPod Pros connected again, and real quick I want to show what the settings look like. And as you can see right here, you can actually change the name of the headphones, the noise canceling or transparency, the tap controls. You can do an ear fit test, or you can turn off the automatic ear detection, and you can also choose which microphone is being used, which is all pretty cool. But one thing that is super cool about these clones is that you can actually do the same thing with them. So first thing you need to do is just have them connect to your phone. So just open up the case, and as you can see, they are connected now. And right here you can actually choose the name, you can choose the noise controls, you can change the tap functionality, which is super cool, and I'm going to show off how that kind of works in a second, just so y'all can kind of get an idea of it. You can do a ear fit test. You can also turn off the automatic ear detection, which I am going to turn off for now, just so it'll help the ear test go better, or not the ear test, but the tap control test. And yeah, just like that, you can control it just like the real AirPod Pros. And the name and everything does update, and as you can see right there, it says Get Reviews AirPod Pros. So that is super cool. A lot of the older models were not able to do this, so I'm glad they finally added this feature. But looking in here, you can see it does not actually have an audio sharing feature. I feel like it did before I updated my phone, so I'm not sure why it changed that now. But that's kind of a bummer. If you have an older version, it might still have audio sharing, but my pair does not, as you can see. Okay, so for my next test, I want to connect the headphones to my phone real quick, and all I have to do for that is just take them out now that they have been connected, and just like that, they should, as you can see, connect to my phone. And real quick, I want to actually test out the squeeze functionality, which should change between transparency and noise canceling. So I'm just going to squeeze the stem, and there you can see it changed. I'm going to try it on the other one and just see if it works. And as you can see right there, it changed. But I also want to try out the squeeze functionality, which I think is like kind of mixed between the squeeze and the tap. So it's kind of hard to do sometimes, but I find it works pretty good if you just tap on the flat part right here. It says it's a squeeze, but I think it works better as a tap. So 2, you can see, pauses it 3 times, goes to the next song, 2 times, pauses like I said, and then I'm going to try 3 times on the left to see if it rewinds. So 2 times seems to play and pause, and as you can see, 3 times on the left seems to rewind to the previous song. So that is a pretty good amount of touch functionality, and it does work pretty well once you figure out how to use it. And they also do have the working in-ear detectors, so if you have that enabled, then you can remove these from your ear and it will automatically pause the music and play it when you put them back in your ear. So that is all very nice to have. So the next thing I want to do real quick is a mic test, and I have both of the headphones in right now, so I'm just going to click record. And this is a test of the mic on the ProPods 3. As you can see, it is a little bit quiet, but I will also do a test of the real AirPod Pros real quick, just so you can kind of see what to expect from them, because they also have an internal mic. So real quick, I'm going to take out the clones. Okay, now so with the real AirPod Pros in, I'm going to hit record, and this is a test of the mic on the real AirPod Pros, just to kind of compare it to the mic on the ProPods 3. And as you can see, the sound is quite a bit better on the real AirPod Pros. But if you're not really making that many phone calls, if it's more like you just like to listen to music while walking to class, these are definitely a good option, as long as that is not what you are buying them for. I definitely would not recommend buying any of these clones for their mic, because they normally use a cheaper mic than the more higher end headsets. So I would definitely invest in something a little more expensive if you are expecting to make a lot of phone calls on them. So I want to kind of end the video on a short recap and what I think about these and if you should buy them or not. So the AirPod Pros are a very good pair of headphones, but they are very expensive. I think kind of more expensive than they should be. But the main reason that I got them was for the noise control, such as the noise canceling and transparency, because that is my favorite feature of the AirPod Pros. But when you get the clones, you don't actually get that functionality. So they do have them discounted quite a bit at like $85, but you aren't getting the main benefit out of that, which is the actual noise control. So I do think they might be trying to add that at some point, but at the current time they don't have it. And for $85, you do get a very nice pair of headphones that has the pop-up control and the tap functionality, and I also like the new design that they have finally with the working ear tips, and also they look really nice and they look just like the most expensive wireless headphones that are currently out right now. So if you want to bring these to school and look cool and everything, that is definitely a good these are definitely a good option for that, with not having to blow too much money on the real deal. But if you want to get the actual noise control, I definitely would go with the real Apple AirPods, just because the sound quality in these is definitely better. The sound quality on the ProPods is very good. It's in par with the original Apple AirPods, but it's definitely not as good as the AirPod Pros. If you are looking for something a little bit cheaper, then I might suggest checking out the ProPods 2 or whatever it is, I think it's called. I'll put that in the description as well, but it is a cheaper version of the AirPods 2, and it has the wireless charging and all of the tap functionality and everything, but they are quite a bit cheaper, and I have a pair of them and the quality is very nice. It's just the exact same as the real AirPod 2s. So should you get them, if you want a pair of AirPod Pros, then I would definitely check these out, as long as you're not looking for the best quality mic or the noise controls. But if you are looking for something a little bit more cheap, then I would definitely check out the ProPods 2. But I hope that you enjoy the video. Don't forget, I am doing the giveaway, so if you like the video, leave a like, get subscribed. It will also enter you in for the giveaway as long as you comment #giveaway. I also have my socials linked down below if you want to check them out and kind of just get more personal with the channel. But I hope that you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.